Hello, friends. Welcome to Great People Interview Series, Season 2. And with us, we have a very successful entrepreneur. And before I introduce him, let me ask you, what do you like about the street food and what you don't like about the street food? Well, things are going to change once you hear him out. And yes, he is the man behind the label that you probably have seen, Plan Burrito. As you can see on his t shirt, he is the founder, CEO, and the originator of this Plan Burrito. Welcome, Stephen.
Hi, how you doing?
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Well, yes, we can't complain this summer. I think sunshine is a lot better than a few weeks ago. So, yeah, very happy.
It is, yes, and you can't put burritos on the barbecue though. Well, you can, but it does work. I've tried it before, so
Yeah, definitely. So how many locations you have now?
so we currently have 13 trading. We have a new store opening in Nuneaton, which is just outside of Birmingham. That will be open in the next couple of weeks as well, and we should have about another 4 openings this year.
Wow, fantastic. And how does it work? I mean, the first one, obviously, you must be owning and running yourself, is it?
Yes, that's correct. So the first one I opened up in Loughborough, which is my hometown, in May the 4th, 2015. So
Wow.
been just over 10 years now, and that was my company owned one, and that actually became the franchising model. So whenever I meet with a prospectus franchisee, we take them into that store, we show them how we do things, the simplicity of the operation, the quality of the food, the quality of the service. And so that's how that shop works. Then a franchisee can take away with him all the knowledge forward, so he can look at operating his own.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, we all know this franchise business model. But since you have created this yourself, I just wanted to understand for the benefit of the listeners who are entrepreneurs and probably aspiring to be a scalable business. Um, how do you define franchise brand for them?
Franchising, the way I would say it, it's like going to, it's like you might want a bedside cabinet. Now you can either go and buy the wood, the screws, the glue, and go into your garage and you know cut it up, put some legs on it, and put it together and put it in the room. But it's probably going to look a bit crap, to be honest, because you've got no plan in place.
Yep.
Franchise basically gives you uh, a model which is already in place. It's like buying the bedside cabinet from IKEA, and it's got instructions on how to put it all together. It's got absolutely everything you need to get that finished product. And that's how I would say franchising is. We offer the actual, flat pack product. You open up a store, but then we offer the support going forward, whether it comes to, operation support, whether it comes down to business support, whether it comes down to marketing support, so it's an ongoing commitment.
Wow, fantastic. So, putting a structure in place, processes in place, and you only worry about the day-to-day operations rather than will it work or will it not work? Because you have tried this, you have been running this brand for 10 years or so, and you have 13 locations where it's if you have 13 locations and if you're still around, then obviously it's working, right?
That's right, but it's never quite as easy as that. What I always say to someone that's inquiring of a franchise, they always say to me, one of the big questions is, "This is a done deal, then? We're gonna make a lot of money?" And I said, "No. Even franchises fail if it's badly operated, if it's not marketed, if it's in a very poor location. Any of these points, and it could fail. Location wise now, because you've got Deliveroo, Uber Eats, and Just Eat, it's not as critical as it used to be, but it's still very important because those guys take big commissions off your sale,
Yeah.
and it's weighing it up, because if you're going to be in a prime location with your with the site address, then you're going to be paying a premium on your rent and your rates. So it's weighing up what's right, and getting that balance. Secondary locations tend to work well, but it means that you have to put more into your marketing. So what you're saving on your rent, you're putting then into marketing the brand in your area. So when a new store opens up, absolutely it can fail if they don't do their local marketing. Well, it's just a recipe for disaster. I mean, our stores are rated no lower than, I think, 4.6 out of 5 stars across any of the platform, across any of Google sites. So we're doing extremely well. We have a really consistent product, and that comes down to operations. So we know all our operations are right, but we do have strong operators, and we have some operators which are not as strong, and we just try to guide them in the right way going forward. And usually, they stand a much better chance when they listen to the guidance and the support that we give them.
Wow, fantastic. I think there might be some curious minds listening to this, thinking, well, if I have to become one of your franchise and if I want to do something, and I don't know anything about burritos and making burritos, um, am I still okay to enter? And if yes, then what kind of support I can expect?
Yeah.
And what is it that I shouldn't expect?
So before I opened up my first store, I couldn't roll a burrito, and I didn't know about it. I'd been into, you know, the competitors now. I've been in
Yeah.
there. I seen how they were doing things, so I knew kind of what needed to be done, but I'd never done it before. So I had to learn, and I had to learn fast. So there's no better way of learning until you're doing the job yourself. A lot of people run away from the unknown, and you're never going to know unless you do it. It's
Yeah.
easier when you've got someone helping you, which is what we would do as a franchise. When I did it, I didn't have that help. I didn't have the help with the marketing. I didn't have the website. I didn't have SEO, whatever that was, or I didn't know about, what comes along with your business when it comes to VAT and the VAT rules for food and hospitality. It's a whole minefield that you have to learn. So, I mean, in terms of a franchise, if they open up, we support them with all that. They don't have to go into the unknown. We've got an intensive training plan before they open up their store. So on the day that they open, they're confident wrapping burritos, making tacos, making churros, making nachos, making quesadilla. They're confident with everything. And not only that, but we'll put our operations manager in the store with them for a week or so that they're bedded in and they're ironing out any creases and stuff. So they've got that network. So it's all well managed, if you wish. Yeah.
Fantastic. And financially, how much someone will have to invest and operationally? So I think, what's the financial model like for somebody opening?
So I mean, it massively depends. For instance, I opened my first store for just over £10,000. So I got a store which was cheap rent, and I fitted it out. Me and my late father, we did this as a project together. He helped me do it all, and we opened up, and it cost just over £10,000. Of course, now we've got things like digital screens for menus in there. We've got different technology pieces, all singing, all dancing, till systems and stuff. So an initial investment at the minute is averaging around about £60,000 for a store opening. But if you're looking at a like-for-like business with a competitor, you're looking at a quarter of a million minimum investment. So we're very, 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 very affordable, and we don't require things like extraction, three-phase electric, gas. We don't require any of them things. So the actual shell of the unit, depending on what it is we can fit into there and comply with all the necessary permissions. So it would really depend on the state of the unit as well as to how much the shop fit would cost, because if it's a huge unit of 2,000 square foot, then it's going to be a lot more material cost and more labor
Yeah.
cost. But on average, it's around 60 at the minute. 60
Wow.
to 70.
Wow,
Yeah.
fantastic. I think in the competitive landscape, I think this is a lot more attractive. Uh, because I think when somebody thinks of these kind of things, as you rightly said, yeah, 300K is something that people would think as the baseline.
Yeah.
And yeah, 70K is really, well, it could move a few people in that direction, I must say.
I
um,
think what it is, I mean, it's the price of a car,
yeah,
except a car will depreciate. Whereas, when you put your heart and soul into a business, it can accumulate and it can be, you can have handsome returns.
yeah, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Well, I know when you were saying, there are lots of hurdles that you had to overcome and so on. Um, Now, at this stage, what are the challenges, yes, you still face as a business?
Probably the Labour government. They haven't got much of a clue that, the impact they have on businesses and the way that the VAT rules are, especially in the hospitality. I think you hear it quite often in the pub sector as well.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. They don't give anyone that's looking to start their own business to create jobs for people any incentive to do so. So, the it will struggle. It will struggle, and I think that's why a lot of people are looking more to franchising, because they've got something that's given them a head start. But really, what we need is innovative people that are going out and bringing in new ideas and have got the help from the government to go ahead and open up. I know they've got
Absolutely.
new business startup loans and stuff like that, but that's a quick fix that goes off your initial cost. It doesn't help you with your cash flow once you're open. So that is always going to be the biggest thing, you
Yeah,
know.
absolutely. I think the ecosystem, as you rightly said, needs to support, including government rules and regulations and taxes and so on. Um, Apart from that, any other challenges that you think are still, or if you want to share, any kind of ambitious plans that you might have for next year or 3 years from now?
I mean, kind of trading through the pandemic was a big shock, because you can't build that into a business plan. That we didn't know that was coming. So, we had opened up our London store, which is our first franchise at the time. Obviously, people weren't venturing out. People
Yeah,
were working from home.
yeah,
The trains weren't running. You
yeah,
know, um, office workers weren't in. Students weren't in. We had lost our whole market, yet we still had extortionate rent to pay in central London, extortionate rates. You know, so we had to really, really run it lean, the business. The good thing about our setup is that it can work on minimal staff, so it's not a staff hungry kind of business. Being from a design engineer, I knew kind of how to build something that's very efficient. So, our stores can run on sole staff, and we have, in our operation manuals, we have, lone workers policies and stuff like that in there, because we know that if it needs to, and the first thing that's going to kill a business is labor costs, when you need trained chefs who are naming what wage they get, when you've got someone stood at the till taking orders, when you've got a waiter giving waiter service to tables, when you've got a pot wash, it's literally just washing pots all day, and then you've probably got sous chefs and all the rest to give a product which is actually not rated as high as ours, you know.
yeah,
So what we've done is, our staff, we train them to be, good at customer service, and on the till, we train them to be able to, you know, make all the different items on the menu, and we will make sure that the way that we've created the items is simple proof. We can teach it to anyone, and we have consistency throughout the brand. So I think we've got as much defense mechanisms against things like the pandemic that we possibly can.
So, did you have to close any stores during pandemic?
No, we didn't. No, and we didn't have to furlough staff or anything.
Do you know that this is amazing achievement?
Yeah, I mean, I think you think on your feet, and I think if you don't adapt the way you're doing things and go with change, then you're doomed. And you see that from most of the restaurants now. I mean, that's when Nando's started doing delivery. It's when, Toby Carvery, now you can get a Sunday roast to your door. It's everything's changed, and I mean, they're still doing the delivery now. It's never gone back to pre-pandemic. It never has, because the consumer trend has changed. And
Absolutely. And I say that because I've seen so many who had to close down
yeah,
during pandemic because it was just not viable.
yeah,
And I know a wonderful store, eatery outside Wimbledon, um, and I know them. I know the person who runs it, and I know he had to close down. He said, "I said you had a fantastic running business." He said, "Now the calculations aren't working, and they couldn't sustain themselves for that difficult period. If
yeah,
he could have sustained that period, I think today he would be just laughing because
yeah,
he always had good business."
yeah.
And to hear this, I would say, this is a fantastic achievement, and it's just the result of what you have designed as part of your business. You could sustain this, which is amazing.
Yeah, I do believe the pandemic cleansed the market a little bit, and it's not long after the pandemic, the government were upping minimum wages and stuff like that, but yet giving no support to businesses to be able to pay increases in minimum wages or increases in national insurance and stuff like that. So again, you find that it's very much now gone straight up to ridiculous amounts.
Yeah,
There's we can't manage it.
yeah,
It's very hard when they're not bringing it in.
absolutely, absolutely true. And with regards to the rents, there were heavy rents, and there was no support. The owner is saying, "Well, I need my rent, and you know, uh, we can't pay the rent because there's no business, and there was no
Yeah,
support." And so many had to close down. It's a real shame. There's some real nice, cozy cafes had to
yeah,
close down as well,
yeah,
um, and
yeah.
we
It
can't.
weren't, it weren't an option for us to close down, with it being our first franchise. It was very important for us that one worked, and it it was it was a very tricky time. We had to make it work, and I think if that had failed, then who's going to invest in a brand that it doesn't work in London? Where's it going to work? So I mean, but the franchisee of the London one is now looking for his second location because he's in his year three. So he's looking in areas like Covent Garden and places that are even higher category than where he's at
Um,
currently. So
Fantastic. Well, I'm already looking forward to that. If you had something coming up, as the second location, you already have one, I guess, which is fantastic. So, one of the last questions, I think we can just go on because I think what you're sharing is amazing insights for entrepreneurs and those who want to scale their businesses. But obviously, we have some limit on the time. Um, One of the last questions is you mentioned about the technology being used. So, what sort of software or web or whatever, what sort of technology that you have in place? And is there any plan to build more technology in coming months and years?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I opened up Plan Burrito, it wasn't just the food quality; it was the service quality. It was welcome someone when they come through the door, not wait till they get to the till, and ask them if they've had a nice day. Don't just ask them what they want to order. That's hospitality. I think a lot of brands forget that now, and it's just serve the food, and the food drags the brand along. We were a whole package. Although going forward, we know Gen Z don't really like interaction um,
Yeah.
with customer facing roles, I guess now. So you see the kiosks in all the stores now. KFC, they don't, they'll if you go to order at the till, they'll just, go to the kiosk, go to the kiosk. But they
Yeah.
don't know how to order it, and how to take an order, or how to provide a customer service anymore. We never wanted to lose that, but we understand there's a demand for kiosks. So we're currently working on kiosks and stuff. Not only that, but when people see the pictures of the food and it's on a screen in front of them, the average order value of that customer will increase. If you've got an average order value spend of 15 when you just run it through a till, you can expect that to increase by probably 20%. So, again, that person could be spending nearly £20 in your store rather than £15. So if you don't move with the time with technologies, then you kind of get left behind. Now, we find it difficult trying to balance customer service and be able to provide the kiosks. So what we'll do in that case is provide a certain number of kiosks and not have them all in there. Along with that, we have new till systems in place which upsell through the process to the customer. And by upsell, it just means offering things that we feel goes really well with their initial item. So, for
Yep.
instance, we've got a burrito, and we just launched a stateside gravy, which is great to dip or tip on there. So it will pop up on the screen for our staff to say, "Would you like to add a stateside gravy for blah 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 blah?" So I mean, technology, yes. I mean, we run Plan Burrito app with rewards on there. Again, we want to be able to reward our loyal customers. We want to be able to offer delivery direct. So we have all that integrated in there and stuff. We have digital menus, so we can drop promotion screens onto there whenever we need to. And yeah, so I think it's very important. And I mean, we move with the time. There's a hell of a lot more software out there and a lot more technology that we can integrate to it. But again, we balance it because we want to keep people's initial investment lower. So people can actually get in. Some people, franchisees who are just, family people who want to run their own business and not be tied into the normal 9 to 5 stuff. We're opening doors for that. And it's great to see people, especially, current people in my network saying, thank you, we're enjoying what we're doing. We love it. They've got their kids in at work with them. It's beautiful. It's really good to see.
Amazing, amazing. I think you got this balance of using the technology, being with the latest trends, um, understanding the psyche of Gen Z, and absolutely right what you said there about their preferences, and trying to balance your way of doing hospitality and what the new customer behaviors are, which is amazing to see. And I can see that, and that's why this business is successful so far. And I see no limits to this kind of a business where the leader is actually driven by the vision rather than small goals of profitability. I think, well, so you have, I mean, there's so many things that you're doing. So I wanted to ask, how big is your team?
So I've built a really strong team actually, and I think that's a huge part of the success. So surround yourself with people that you can kind of rely on and delegate jobs to. So I think starting from the beginning of the franchise journey, we've got a lady called Jill. She runs my franchise recruitment. So when any franchisee inquires for a new store, then she'll walk them through the process all the way to the point where they're opening the doors. Obviously, they'll have contact with me and the training and everything. So it'll start with Jill, but then we have someone who will then, a guy called Phil Archer at D&T, he will then work with the franchisee to get them their business finance. So whether they're taking a new business loan or they're getting new startup loans or whatnot to fund the store. After that, we've got another guy who's based in London who finds the retail units, so the properties for them, if they don't have a property. We also do the business plan for the franchisee as well, based on real-time figures, and we'll set them up KPIs for the next coming years, and that's an ongoing document. And then we will have Charlie who is a franchise consultant. So if we need any information with the contracts, we've always got him to go to. We work with Ashton's Legal, who are the top of what they do for franchising. So that's our legal team. We have Alex, who is operations manager. So he started it with me in 2015. We've worked together all the way through, and he's now the operations manager. So he'll look after the franchisees and train the franchisees and audit their stores after they're open, and constant guidance. Then we have Simon Robinson, who's the managing director, and he's got a background of 30 years in Starbucks Canada, growing Starbucks over there. Then he's worked for brands like German Doner Kebab, Oodles, Wok Chinese, Heavenly Desserts, quite a few big players. So he's recently came on board this year, which is bringing a wealth of knowledge as well. Who else do we have? We have Nadia, who runs my store in Loughborough, so that's a managed store now. Obviously, I've got a lot on with the franchise stuff,
Yeah.
so I just have my store managed, and I just keep an eye on it. Although Nadia's very good for doing that herself. So yeah, we've got a fairly big team. We've got Kesh as well, who does the store designs. So when the franchisees finally found their unit that they're wanting to open in, Kesh will go down. He works for himself, so he's got his own company, but he works alongside Plan Burrito. He knows our business inside out and the layouts. So he'll go in, do a build pack, and then the franchisees can give that to whatever contractor they wish to do their store fit out, so it keeps the costing down for them. They also know that we're not getting kickback from it, which is very common in the franchising game. Franchisors will get kickback from the shop fit, they'll get kickback from the food, from the packaging, from everything. We like to be very, very transparent with our franchisees, so they know.
That's amazing.
So yeah, we've got a good team, a good robust team.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time, Stephen. I think this is one of the longest interviews in this series, but I think
Probably my fault. Yeah.
no, it was worth it. I think I deliberately let it happen because I think the wealth of knowledge that you're sharing, the insights. I think somebody thinking of scaling their business or thinking of becoming your franchise, I think they have enough to understand from a value proposition perspective. And I think the intention of these interviews is to share the knowledge and, of course, motivate people to do more.
Absolutely.
Rather than seeking jobs, we want to create people who will create jobs in the UK.
Exactly. You work for Labour.
Yeah. Well, I don't talk politics, but I must say that any government should look at the problems, the real life problems, and come up with solutions. And if it's not happening, it's coming from the person who is actually facing. So yeah, so that's a real problem. So whichever is the government, I think they are here to solve our problems. And I don't have that reach yet, but if somebody listens, I think they need to know that these are the problems where we are facing as businesses in the UK.
Absolutely, yeah.
And yeah. Well, thank you once again for your time,
Yes,
Stephen.
thank you. Thank you,
All the
Sachin.
best, and I want to see. I want to be invited for your 100th store.
Absolutely. Yes, more than welcome.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.